And without further ado, I'd like to invite on stage the chairman of the Singapore Association, Mr. Stanley T. So put your hands together and welcome Mr. Stanley T on stage.
Stanley.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stanley T, representing Singapore Association. Thank you for coming to this event. Over in Hong Kong, this is our very first time we celebrate SG50. And to some of the other people who may not know what SG50 stands for, it's Singapore 50th anniversary, in conjunction with our SA 40th anniversary. I wanted to thank some of the people who come all the way from Australia, from China, from Singapore, and maybe other parts of the world. Many a times whenever I listen to a lot of people who share their message or speech, it's always about either economy or what SA has done. I've decided that this particular chairman's speech, it will not be a speech. Rather, it's dedicated to all of you. In terms of those who contributed their time, their effort, their money, and also to our founding members of Singapore Association, plus Singapore International School. Without further ado, allow me to thank the various group of people. The first group of people I want to thank is none other than SA Exco. The first person I want to thank is Miss Jennifer Tan. As some of you may know, she worked the hardest. She will liaise with you in terms of coordinating for logos, artwork, so on and so forth, in order to put all this information inserted into the magazine, plus table arrangement as well. So she deserves a round of applause. Thank you, Jennifer. Next, I want to thank our EXCO members who helped you guys during the registration and later on for live auction items as well. So there are a few members who are here, EXCO members. Shall we have the EXCO members please rise? Cora Cho, Marietta, Gary Hong, Jason, Catalina. These are EXCO members who helped you guys during the registration part. Thank you very much. And let's not waste time. I have another group of people that I want to thank. And these are our so-called, in life, we do need them once in a while because they do give us advices, namely they are our SA advisors. Behind me, you should be able to see there are 5 advisors. Namely, we have Mr. Lee Yong-san from Kerry Holdings. And he's a very fervent believer and at the same time has a passion for SA. We want to thank you for your contribution. We have Robin Hu from South China Morning Post. As you may know, who is he? He's the CEO of South China Morning Post, but he's a very intelligent person and he has deep knowledge about China politics. If you have interest to get to know about China politics, I strongly encourage you to engage him. And of course, we have our very own TVB veteran, Mr. Robert Chua. Yeah. And he not only has been TVB for a long time, but at the same time, he's the franchisee of Tim Ho Wan. So he has a lot of outlets outside of Hong Kong. And of course, we have Tony Teo. Where's Tony Teo from PIL? Yeah. Thank you for allowing us to use your conference room once in a while during our meetings. And we do have Lawrence Chia. Unfortunately, he's not here, but Lawrence has contributed to us quite a fair bit as well from Pico Art. The next group I want to thank, this group I must thank because they are the ones who make this event happen. And they are our key sponsors. And can we have Sebastian from DBS? Please rise. I met him a few months ago, and when he learned about the fact we are doing some charity, immediately he told me, I will buy another table. I'll sponsor you another table for it. Thank you, Sebastian. Next, I would like to thank Bento from Sands, Macau. This is not his first time. Please rise. This is the second time to help us. We thank you for traveling all the way from Macau to here. And the third person is not a Singaporean. He's over here, a local Hong Konger. When I met him, and when he get to know that we are doing this charity, he pulled me out and says, Stanley, and he makes sure he uses his glasses like this, and he looked at me, Stanley, are you doing it for charity? I said, yes, part of the proceeds will be given out to Make-A-Wish and also to Viva Foundation. I still remember the exact words. You send me the materials, okay? You send me the materials. And when I look at the watch, it was 10, almost 11 p.m. So this guy looked very serious to me. So I was thinking, okay, when I go back home, I will send you the materials. So I sent to him around past midnight, 12:15. So he told me verbally that if this is meant for charity, I'm going to help the charity organization. I'm going to make sure that I'll put it up as a platinum table. So to me, when he said that to me, I said, okay, is this guy for real or just kidding? Because I just met him. So I didn't realize. But within a few days, this guy appeared and says, I'm committed. So shall we give a round of applause to Mr. Matthew Lam, Honorary Consul of Estonia. Thank you, Matthew, for your contribution. And I want to thank also my dear friend, Roger Lee from TAL. Also not his first time in terms of contributing. Thank you, Roger. Next gentleman I want to thank. It's very interesting. When I approached him and asked him to help, we said this is meant for charity and also at the same time we want to give back to society. I said, are you able to sponsor more than one table? He looked at me and said, I try. I said, a try is not good enough. I said, you better commit to me. I'm looking at least 3 to 4 tables. He thought for a while, and he said, okay, I tell you what, I'm going to blow my budget for the next 2 years. So I said, wow, you're going to blow your budget? That's serious. So because of this, he went the extra mile. I want to personally acknowledge him. Can we have Benjamin Chan from Singapore Airlines? Can you please rise? Where's Benjamin Chan? Okay, over there. Okay, thank you, Benjamin. Next gentleman I want to thank, interesting, not a Singaporean. When I called upon him, I said, I need help. I need you to buy 1 table. And he looked at me and said, okay. I remember I had a lunch with him, only 1 lunch. But because of a lot of things we do have in common as entrepreneurs, often at times he will tell me, your mindset and mine resonates each other. And I agree with him. And to me, I always view that this guy is a brother. He's a Malaysian, but he's here to support us. Datuk Chia, can you please rise? Where are you? Datuk Chia, thank you for your support. He supported us not just 1 table when I approached him, but when Casey Gunn approached him for the 2nd table, he readily agreed. He was very fast when he agreed with me. The last person I want to thank, he's very famous here. He gets a lot of tables, a number of tables, in fact, slightly more than me, and he typically always nudges me and says, you know, I raise more than you, slightly more than you. And he's very famous. So, shall we give him a round of applause, Mr. Casey Gunn from Hong Leong. Thank you, Mr. Gunn. My speech is very short. I shall start my speech. Trust me, it's really very short. This year is an unforgettable year because we have the passing away of our leader and founder, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. He has left a legacy behind, And I think we should follow. Ladies and gentlemen, our life is very short. Often at times we strive to get wealth, to get fame. But we know all this will pass away. It will not last long. It is only through your legacy, your name will forever be remembered by your next and future generations. So in view of this, back 2-3 years ago, I spearheaded the project doing some charity work, not in terms of raising funds for SA Ball, but very simple things. Where back then in 2013, we went to a couple of old folks' homes. Together with me, Mr. Peck, Principal, SIS, we make an effort. We bought basic necessity food, biscuits, oats, couple of stuff, and we reach out to these elderly people. Similarly, a few months later, in North Point, we reach out to another group of people. And why am I doing this? Because I want to share this message to the local Hong Kong community that we, as Singaporeans, not here to work, not alone, we're not alone just come here to work or do business, but we want to touch the lives, some of them, pockets of them, so that when they come and they see us again, oh, allow me to use Cantonese, 又係你啊，張老闆. So they know that you are a Singaporean. You are here to help us. And this is what I want to share, I want to bring across for SAHK, to leave behind a legacy for this organization, not only for SA, but also for the next future generations. So often at times you see me, there's another slide in 2014, in June, we went bigger. So instead of reaching out to 50 to 70 elderly people, we reach out to 300 over people. And every time I bring my son along, and I want my son and the rest of my parent group who followed me, that the next generation will do likewise. In conjunction with this particular sharing of legacy, I want to share the last two groups very importantly. Back in 1975, I was just a toddler. There are 20 gentlemen from Singapore come over to Hong Kong to set up Singapore Association. And we want to thank these 20 men. Truly remarkable because they spent their effort drafting constitution, submitting the information to the authorities as a non-profit organization. So much so that we, today, as youngsters like me, can organize social events or networking for all of you. Mr. Patrick Wu, one of them, supposed to be here, but unfortunately because he suffered from a dengue fever, he's not able to attend. But even though it's not easy to get some of the founding members, but I want to acknowledge a few or one or two of the so-called pioneers who are here. Can we have Dr. Paul Louis seated at table number 11? Dr. Paul Louis, please rise. He's one of the first few chairmen back then. Thank you, Dr. Paul, for your contributions. And I must use, before I share the next group of people, I forget to mention one particular quote from Zig Ziglar. And that quote to me is very deep because it deeply impacts on me personally that I want to share. It says, you have never really lived your life until you have done something for someone who can never repay you. And to me, I fully agree. This is a quote from Zig Ziglar. Last group I want to share. Back in 1991, we have a group of founding members who formed SIS, Singapore International School. To me, I want to purposely highlight this because I want the youngsters like me to know how this thing was formed and how it benefits us today. And we have a couple of people. The patron at that time was Sir Rara Shaw. First chairman, Mr. Robert Koch. Vice chairman, Mr. Robert Ng. Followed by, we have in our presence here, Mr. Neo Phuket. Where are you? Can you please rise, Mr. Neo Phuket? Where are you, Mr. Neo Phuket? Yes. Mr. Neo, let me explain. He's very instrumental in pulling a lot of people. All these members behind you, the pictures that you see, he's the one that actually formed the body. And we also have in our presence, we are very fortunate, one of the pioneers, Sally Teo. Can you please rise? Sally Teo is our third principal. And I want to share a little bit story about Sally. During her term, SIS was just a primary school. Our government has been insistent not to extend beyond primary school. So during her time, together with the board members, they have to negotiate very hard with MOE, Ministry of Education, for a couple of years, not 1 year, couple of years, to finally convince them to extend from primary to secondary and into IB. And we want to thank you, Sally, for your determination and perseverance. There's a few more individuals I want to share before I end. Mr. Robert Ng, even though he's not here, but he has been helping us to this day. For the building in SIS Aberdeen, he personally supervised every weekend without fail, just to make sure the building structure is safe. We want to thank Mr. Robert Ng for his dedication and assistance. At the same time, one more person I want to highlight, even though she's not here due to her family matters, Miss Florence So. She's now back in Singapore, but she is the one that do all the hard work, paperwork, submissions, and all those kind of admin stuff that we men doesn't like to touch. We want to thank Florence. One more guy I want to thank will be Mr. C.N. Chow, owner of Popular Bookstore. He worked for being the first supervisor at SIS to ensure the safety of our children. So these are some of the highlights I want to share with you, and I want to thank, for this very purpose, our pioneers. And of course, I want to thank one last person, Mr. Lee Yong San again. Mr. Lee, you are the second supervisor. You were our second supervisor who helped us for our SIS. I want to thank you, Mr. Lee. From here, I end my message. I want to thank you for your patience and for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Stanley Tee, Chairman of Singapore Association. And now may I invite our Consul